So thank you everybody for coming and for the people attending via Zoom. Today we have Neal Allen. I hope that's how you pronounce your name. He's the sales director for the protocol builder at Biomedical Research Alliance of New York, also known as BRANY, I guess. And he does building highly effective win-win partnerships for the Biomedical Research Alliance of New York, using business development and channel sales strategy experience to continue record of driving exceptional annual increases. He has expertise in developing markets, recognizing business opportunities, and creating strategic alliances, helping shape new product offerings, launching innovative sales and marketing programs, closing new business, and expanding existing accounts. So I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add.
Yeah, well, first of all, aw shucks. Secondly, I think what I think I bring hopefully to this conversation that's more important to you guys would be, you know, I've been working with West Virginia University for a while with Protocol Builder ever since I came on a couple of years ago. You were one of the first people I worked with, although not, I think, your department so much. But I think, you know, I've actually had the opportunity now to, you know, get more involved, you know, in this particular research compliance world. And I've been working with a number of different other kinds of, you know, accounts like, you know, NYU and Georgetown and Children's National. And a lot of times the CTSA award group and the CTSI organizations are the ones that are the most interested, because you guys tend to be, you know, proactively in place to find, you know, kind of better ways to use, you know, the technology and better ways to use data. It's funny, I'm actually, recently I was just at the CTSI at the NIH, working with Dr. Galvez, who's looking hard at Protocol Builder as he's considering as a way, and as a message maybe even to say, to help people see that, hey, look, we should use, you know, better forms of technology, particularly technology that lets us treat our fields, you know, treat our data like data, and not just be stuck in, you know, these kind of word repositories that are, you know, basically not useful as data. So hopefully that's what I can help bring to the table as well. Besides the fact that I am from New Jersey and can't help but crack jokes, or at least I hope try not to do it too often. So hopefully you laugh when I do make my jokes. So that is, I guess, the best introduction, I think. Does that help you guys at all? Does that make more sense?
Yes, thank you very much. And I just wanted to add, while you want to maybe set up your slideshow, that we have the Protocol Builder access request here. So after the presentation, if you want to add your name, then Sarah can help provide you access to this product. So go ahead, thank you.
Yeah, so that is, by the way, here's my contact information. Feel free to contact me if you need me for anything. Yeah, you know, you guys have an unlimited user, unlimited protocol subscription with us already. So really, you know, the purpose is, you know, to take advantage and let, you know, more people take advantage of it at WVU. But you do have that. So if you guys choose to use it, you know, it's already there. You don't have to get something new. So just so you know, and we'll, as they mentioned, you know, you'll be able to, right after the session, find out how to get signed up. So just real quickly, you know, basically, Protocol Builder is brought by the Biomedical Research Alliance of New York. Our acronym is BRANY. Gives us a good laugh every now and then. But, you know, if you ever know where BRANY is actually owned by these 4 nonprofits who actually created BRANY in 1998 to help create tools and research administration that they could all share. And then they realized, well, we should probably share them with more than just each other. So they've basically grown in what they do. BRANY has their own IRB and does IRB consulting. You might also know BRANY because BRANY is the owner of City Program. And so all the City Program compliance training is a BRANY product, as well as HRP consulting, which some of you might have worked with at some point. So, you know, BRANY is very involved in research administration and compliance, and that's one of the reasons why they recognized, after some of their clients were asking them, you know, to look into why does investigator-initiated trials tend to move so slowly. And it turned out one of the biggest reasons was about protocols, and the fact that protocols are moving so slowly. So what I thought we would do today, is just take a look at, what are the issues with protocols that I see at other institutions, and again, hear what you guys are seeing specifically at yours, then talk about what Protocol Builder is and show you, actually show you what it can do and give you a walkthrough of how it works. And then, depending on how much time we have, is talk a little bit then how it can really help you, once you've seen how it works. So that was kind of my agenda for today. I hope that meets your goals. Does that make sense? I'll take that as a yes. Feel free, to jump in. I know you're also probably muting, which is also nice because it makes it a little easier for better sound for everybody. But this session really is for you guys, and so if you feel you want to jump in, please do. Or I'm sure you can write me a little message or whatever, because I want to make sure we really answer your questions. So again, why are protocols problematic? What's the problem people see? It's a process that more and more people are being, asked to do. In fact, one of the things we're hearing is that most institutions now, like 80% of the protocols are coming from residents and other new investigators, where people who don't have that much training usually in this stuff, maybe none, and are being asked to write these protocols, and then they're going into the IRB process and many times kind of gumming up that process or making it difficult. The actual things that people seem to be finding difficulty with, first of all, is that it's hard to get, clear, complete, and compliant protocols from people. A lot of times people don't know what they need to do to get it complete, and a lot of times they're turning in stuff that's only partially complete because tools like Word and stuff don't really really do a great job at making them truly see how complete the protocol is and actually finishing it. And that's what Protocol Builder can help with, among other things. But there's also some other really interesting benefits too, that other issues with protocols. Some people are finding that, why am I, putting my data in places like Word where I have no ability to use the data somewhere else, like in I2B2, or I want to send it through electronically to an EIRB submission system, or any other reason. And so one of the really nice things about Protocol Builder is that all of this, we take a look at it, all of the sub-fields, all the fields are actually have API interfaces linked to them, so it could be used in other products if we so choose. So that's kind of just a quick summary of what people see as problems. Do these match what you guys are seeing? Anybody give me some feedback? Or?
I think so. Thank you. Sorry, I do have you on mute, but if anybody has any questions, I will unmute and we can have a conversation.
Fair, very good. And I just want to make sure we're really connecting with you guys here. So yeah, so that's what, the problems we're seeing. So that's why Protocol Builder was created. It was actually created in 2015. I like to call it like the TurboTax for creating protocols, particularly for investigator-initiated trial protocols. So it's a cloud application. And as far as we know, it's still the only product that's actually developed to help people do actual protocol writing. There are protocol like EIRB submission tools and stuff, but to actually write the protocol, this is one of the few tools that actually does that. The only tool. And you're going to see that. So one of the really neat things is we have a full range of protocol types, so everything from chart reviews and observational retrospectives to interventional combos with significant risk and all that. So one of the benefits of all that is you're going to see that then the output is more consistent. So now your observational retrospectives are going to look a lot more like your interventional combos, which just makes it easier for the IRB and everybody else associated to get to look at all this stuff and go through it. But we're also going to see there's a lot of tools for collaboration, and then we also have things like a true audit log, uneditable audit logs, and really easy, clear abilities to review revisions and stuff. So that's what we're going to be showing you as I get into this a bit more. By the way, talking about some of the things we can do with data. We can support single sign-on very easily. That a lot of our customers are doing that right now, so they only have one login to their research administration system and one set of passwords. We can integrate, as I mentioned, with other systems, and we also now have a customization ability, for template and guidance and be changed. So these are all things that we can offer. And so a lot of people use Protocol Builder right out of the box. It's one of the nice things, unlike a lot of products, you can actually do that. But then other people are considering and doing some kinds of customization to make it more suitable to their needs. And we have a lot of our custom clients who are basically start with it in its native form and then really try to understand what do they think they need, so because that's one of the things, as you have these new tools, a lot of times when you create your systems, they can be different now because because now we're seeing new tools. And I hope that background noise isn't bothering you guys. I don't know if you can hear it, this lawnmower, of course, right next to me. So I apologize for that if it's bringing any interference to the line. And let me know if it's really bad. All right, Protocol Builder, as I mentioned, offers a very broad line of protocols. So we have everything from your chart review retrospective and observational retrospective, up through your combo interventionals and stuff. And so we have 19 different templates today. We also offer a social behavioral for like psychologists and stuff. It's kind of a non-clinical language. So we really believe we have protocols to cover almost everything you'd want to be doing. Some of the tools I'm going to be showing you really quickly, and we're not going to do too much more PowerPoint. I'm a believer in death by PowerPoint. But we offer like these really nice tools that help people see through our dashboards the relative completeness of the protocol by section based on the writer's inputs. You're going to see that we have some very pretty, if you want to call it, protocols, nice, concise, well organized, well printed out. That you can offer in either Word or PDF or PDF output, so you can get the output you need. Just right now, we're being used by a whole bunch of different folks, and and it's funny, different folks lead. So different institutions, some institutions like Children's National, the CTSI is kind of leading the effort. And, Boston U, the CTSI is leading it. Some other schools like McLaren Health, it's more their residency programs and stuff that are doing it. And then other places like NYU, it's kind of being led by the Human Research Protection Program and the IRB. So again, it benefits all of these people. It's just different people sometimes take the lead with Protocol Builder in different institutions. So now enough of the talking about Protocol Builder. Let's actually take a look at Protocol Builder and go back to the home page here. So now I'm actually in Protocol Builder at the front page. All I've done to do this is, well, usually using a username and password. But again, as I mentioned, we do support single sign-on. A lot of our clients use single sign-on. So what we do is we create a kind of a sign-up, or if you're using single sign-on, just a sign-in page with a link we create for you with your own graphics and your own logo and all that stuff that you typically put behind your firewall and research them in somewhere. That that basically either allows people to sign up, or if you're in single sign-on, just lets them log in. So once we're here, there's the front screen. Now, one of the things I hope you're going to notice is we try to make this product very easy to learn, very easy to relearn, very intuitive, but at the same time offer a lot of help and training. Because that's kind of the way investigators are. Once they have time to get into this stuff, once they start playing with something, they don't like it to be hard to learn, and if it gets too difficult, people just tend to give up. So we try to go to great lengths to make this very straightforward. So what you're seeing here on this front screen is these are the last 3 protocols I was working on. Easy way to launch them, Now, of course, most people, that's all they're going to be working on, right? The last ones are usually not working on bunches at once, but some people are. So up here on the upper right is our tool ribbon. This is our actual file folder for our protocols. So we can actually see all the protocols that we either have launched or that we're in the cover page and one of the contributors to. And we're going to come back to this later because there's other versatility in here. We can start a new protocol from here, by the way. So I can see all the protocols that I've been working on. Going back to the front page, so a couple of the other things that are going on here is like this particular button is for our resource area. So what we try to do is basically bring a lot of different resources that people might need for protocols all to one place, so they don't have to run all over the internet to find them. So we have things like the FDA forms, and we keep these updated. links to clinical or trials.gov glossary, other external links, to, the different offices that typically people have to go to. So we're just making it a lot easier for people to find things they might need for protocols. Here's also where we list our resident new investigator resources. We've actually found that's a very key area for people that use Protocol Builder. They really want help with their residents and new investigators. One of the really neat things is we not only offer like a special retrospective chart review with a lot of extra guidance, but we actually offer content that can be used to create an overall curriculum of trying to teach, how to do research. We found this was a big need. Obviously doing the protocols is important, but you actually have to have a basis, for these people to understand, what they're doing and why. And so this content has been well received, and people really like this program. One of the nice things, by the way, is that, as a subscriber to Protocol Builder, institutional subscriber, you have full use to this content, so you can, cut it out, use it, do whatever you need to do with it to help you create your curriculum or whatever you want to do for your base. So this is one of those nice sections. So this is the resource area. So when I go to Protocol Builder, and I want to go ahead and I can easily create a new protocol. Just go ahead and click the new protocol button. Give it a file name. Pick up a principal investigator. By the way, it's recognizing me. By the way, so my stage name is Carl Sagan with a K. I have to have multiple accounts because I have different levels of access, including help desk access and stuff. So now I can just choose the account that or the protocol type that I want to use, and pretty straightforward and listed right here. Now, if I don't know what I want to use, we actually have a wizard that will help people choose the protocol that people can use. So, I can go through a decision tree. Is that a repository? Yes. Is the repository is this part of a larger study, or is this the focus of the protocol repository? Nope, it's part of a larger study. So I can click that. I can click observational and interventional. These red eyes are tooltips. You're going to see that we use these a lot through the product. This is where you put your guidance. We put our guidance. And basically, we're working to add a lot of additional guidance because that's been one of the things people have requested. So we have, you can choose if it's interventional. And again, I can continue to go through this decision tree. If I choose some of the device, the loss of its significant risk, if it's FDA, all the FDA approval. So it's just helping me go through to pick the correct one that meets my needs. And so I'm just going through, and then based on what I put in, it's giving me an interventional non-significant device with repository. And now I'm in the cover page. Now, we got the typical cover pagey kind of stuff, but one of the important things to note is that when you're putting your collaborators in, it's not just to put them in their names you printed on the cover page. These are actually the people that are collaborating with you on this study. And you're going to see that we have a lot of really cool tools for collaboration. And so we can add in all the kinds of folks that we would add, including our study personnel like biostatisticians. Research administration is just noted as a separate field because by most tradition, it's research admins not printed on the cover page. So that's why they're here. But if you want them to be printed on the cover page, or there's people involved in more level, then you just put them at the key study personnel, and they will be printed on the cover page. So now I can see that, I've got my table of contents for this protocol. By the way, if I had chosen a different kind of protocol, let's say, it said, no, this is not really what I wanted. I really wanted a social behavioral one. That we'd be that far off, but just for interest sake, I'll show that to you. So when I save it, you'll now see that the table of contents changes, quite a bit to focus because this social behavioral works in more non-clinical language. So here we have, and we've basically created our protocol. So now I'm going to go ahead and started our protocol. I'm going to go ahead now and edit an existing protocol because it's just kind of more useful for showing you the tools Protocol Builder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up an existing one that I've been working on. So the first thing I see when I do a protocol is I see my dashboards. And the dashboards are telling me what the relative completeness is of each subsection of the protocol is based on the input from the writers. So this is a great tool because one of the big problems people face is everybody's told every protocol is either 100% done or almost done, and often that is not even close to the case. Sometimes these people don't know, sometimes they do know, and they're just not being honest. But this helps everybody kind of know where we are. So one way people use this is they could take a look at this, whether you're like a program director with a residence protocol or you're looking at a HRPP, and you can just say, look, you know, this doesn't even look partially done. Can you really get this more done before you even talk to us about it? That could be the way it was used. So as I mentioned, we really try and keep this to be a simple to use product. So the menu button really just, it does one thing. It brings up the table of contents that also happens to have the needs review button on it, which we'll talk about in a minute. So basically when I see here in the table of contents, it's giving me more information about, again, the completeness of this protocol. So wherever you see a plus means there's a section, it's a section head. So there's going to be subsections below it. So I can see the, the subsections below it. When you see a section with a green circle and check, it means that all the subsections are basically marked as complete. When you see a one with a gray circle and check, that means that some form of it's in draft. So at a subsection level, a gray circle and draft means that you've marked this as done in draft, not done as complete. And we'll see that in just a minute. I'll look to show you that in a little more detail. But the long and short of it is you're getting a very quick and clear indication what's been done, what hasn't been done, just to work on it. So now I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of editing. And again, feel free to jump in if you have any questions or I've just gone over something too quickly. So now I'm going to go into the primary objective. So let's take a look at a couple of things before I actually edit it. To edit, I hit the edit button. Before I do that, though, I'm going to take a look at the red eye. Here's the guidance for the primary objective. So you can see that we've written out some, pretty in-depth and hopefully useful guidance. And we've been told they really like this kind of guidance. This really helps your people understand what's supposed to be here. Okay. By the way, this gives me a chance to show you one of the collaboration features. This is the message window. Message window lets you, this is attached, there's a message window with every subtopic of Protocol Builder. And this lets you basically say things, that you might do by email or some other chat system. But the beauty of the Protocol Builder one is this chat window is saved with the Protocol Builder file forever. It's not printed in the protocol, but it's saved in the file. And as I mentioned, it's all done by subsection. So it could very well be that, let's say, typically a study could take a couple of years to do. It could be we discussed some statistical methods, we were talking about it in the chat area, we picked one, 2 years later, we're analyzing the results. We want to review that concept. Didn't we talk about another, way to do this? Right? So this just gives you the ability to do that and stays with the file, as I said. So it makes it really easy to find, an email or some other chat system may be really difficult to find or connect up to this stuff very easily. So that's why we do it. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to go into the edit. You're kind of seeing it in a preview mode now. So now I'm going to go ahead and edit. And now we can see some of our editing features. So you're seeing some additional guidance below here. This is a different kind of guidance. This is more about how the product works guidance. And it's saying here that, well, hey, this is the exact same content that is the primary objection from primary objective from synopsis. So if you change one in one place, we're going to change the other place automatically. Again, this is just one of those ways to help people be compliant, without making silly mistakes, because these two are not the same. They're here in the synopsis. Technically, it has to be, rejected. So this is one of those ways we just make it easier. All right, so now you're seeing that we have our typical Word kind of window. And we do that because people have already probably used Word before, so it makes it easier not to learn so much new stuff. But we do have some special features that we've added that are generally not done so well in Word and Google Docs. One simple one is just the ability to add in scientific notations much more easily. That's a nice feature. But one of the really nice features, too, of Protocol Builder is it actually builds out your reference section, the appendices, abbreviations, the glossary, list of tables, for the user based on what they put in the subsections here. So basically what we can do here is we can go ahead and, for example, if I want to create an abbreviation, say I want to create immune suppression as an abbreviation that I'll be using throughout this document, I would just create it. I would highlight the term, pick up the abbreviation, and type in and I said suppression wrong, so it can fix it for me, and now I'll save it. And if I save this section, I'm going to talk about this section, then it'll not only pop up, it'll show up in my abbreviation section. Now, this is where I'll talk about saving. So one of the things about Protocol Builder is, and this was by user request, if you don't save the subsection you're working on, the work you've done, it's going to abandon it. And that's actually done on purpose, because anything that's saved is going to be saved to the audit log. So if people choose to just not feel that this work is what they want in the audit log, that's why we basically have a choice. But you basically can save with one of two ways. You can either save as a draft or save as complete. These are really just used to give us an indication based on the writer's feelings about where we are on this, so that we can get a better feeling of where we are on the completion of this protocol. If you save it as complete, it doesn't lock it away for life or make it so you can't edit it or anything like that. You can save as complete and then do some more editing and save that as complete, or you can edit some more and save as a draft. And you're going to see in a few minutes when I show you the compare revision section that we saved all those drafts. That's why I was saying you have to, why we save them. So it could be you could start work on something, not like it now, but come back to it, pull it back up again, and work on it again later. So that's one of the nice things. So saving drafts, save as complete is just my indication of where I think I am on this piece. So we'll come back to that in a second. But now I can also add my glossary terms, and so if I have a term that I want to, make a glossary term, I can go ahead and, just basically choose that term. I can go ahead and just input it, where I think you noticed that I had links out in my resource section, and one of the links out went to clinicaltrials.gov's glossary section. So I can go ahead and I can pick the term that I want, and go ahead and bring that in. This isn't the right term, by the way, I know that, but I'm choosing one at random. And then, so if I choose outcome measures, I can pick glossary, and then it'll basically pop it up, and then, type it in and just save it. And it'll pop up, and it'll also be printed out in my abbreviation section and my glossary section. One of the really nice abilities of Protocol Builder is how we can work with references. And so basically what Protocol Builder does is it allows you to, you can just do your references, of course, on the fly, which would be very easy, but, just click a reference, you add new, and you can go ahead and we can just type it in. But the reality is if you're doing a protocol, you probably have 99%, if not more, of your references already done. As a matter of fact, you probably have them in like EndNote or Zotero, or you might have downloaded a file from, from PubMed, so you probably already have this stuff. And so Protocol Builder lets you bring that right into Protocol Builder. And the way we do that is we do it up here in the little profile section. In one of the few cases, we actually have a sub-menu. One of the sub-menus is references. You can bring in reference files. And a reference repository at Protocol Builder lets you bring in references and not just use it on this particular protocol, but use it on any protocol you write. And that tends to be useful because many people do use their references more than once. So I'm going to do this very, very quickly, showing how it works from the side of it. Like we're just going up to PubMed, or like I have Zotero opened up, or EndNote, all these things you can support. So, I could just go and, carefully pick my references based on my in-depth study and blah, blah, blah stuff. Once I've really chosen those things I really use, I would just use the send to function in PubMed, use the citation manager, which creates the mbib file, which would just create a file for me that I would save in a place that I remember. And then once I get over back into Protocol Builder, and I'm getting back to my actual editing area, so if I want to bring in this reference, I would just pick the place I want the reference, go to the reference screen. I could just go through my references until I find the one I want. By the way, I can use my, search box to help narrow it down. So I can, choose some things that'll just narrow it down a good bit. I could take a preview of this, and then I can go ahead and insert it. And so now I have my reference in there. When I click on it, I can now see it. I could clone it for further use. I can, I could actually put in more specific info, like the exact page, and I can just do whatever I want. And this is now, one of the beauties of all this is it's going to create my reference section for me and do all that grunt work of getting the formatting and stuff done at the end of the document for me. Can also do footnotes, I just put a footnote in and, just goes right wherever I put it. I actually picked a place for it, yeah. So I would just go ahead and pick a place for the footnote and then just type it in and then it'll just be popped right in for me. All right, so now, I've done that. I can bring in tables too. So I can, bring in tables I want to bring in, any table I want to do, just go ahead and pop it right in. And I have the ability to bring in my appendixes that I want to do. And by the way, I can bring in, just as I showed you in the cover page, I can bring in as many appendixes as I want. I just use the circle and plus key if I want to bring in yet another attachment. So I can just bring in as much as I want. All right, so now I'm going to show you one of our really nice collaboration features. So let's say I was going to save this as a draft, and now what I want to do is, if I just want to go right by it, I could skip notification, just go right by it. But let's say now I want to say, hey, here is my current draft with changes. Can you review? And then I can go down and choose the people that are from my cover page that I want to copy this to. And we do that on purpose. We don't want to send to everybody. We did that originally, but what happens is when you send it to everybody, then a bunch of people are getting, like biostatisticians getting a bunch of emails not really to them. And so they just stop reading them. So what's nice is...
Sorry, just to let you know, the screen is frozen and I'm not... Okay, we see the Zoom screen now. So
do you see Protocol Builder now?
We can.
Fantastic. Again, all right. So here's where I was, and I was going to just, I sent those notifications, which was really cool because it actually sends them an email. So these people it actually sends an email saying, oh, okay, can you take a look at this subsection? My notes are there, and then what happens is that not only does it send a note to them, but then, so one of the functions we have in Protocol Builder is needs review. And what this does is this tells you what everybody has asked you to do in this protocol, who asked you to do it, when, and then I can go ahead and take a look at, I can go right to it, and then I can use our compare revision function, or I can go right to edit. I'm going to go ahead and use this time to go to the compare revision function because it's pretty cool. Something you don't see really in Word or anything else. And so, so now here we have, what's happened is here's the last draft we were working on, and it's going to compare it to the last completed version. If there's not a completed version, then it'll do it for the last fully saved draft. So now I can see very, very visually what's been changed, right? I can see what's taken out in red, what's added in green. I can see that this particular graphic was added because it's bordered in green. I can see the green number on the reference, it was added. So it's just a really nice way for me to see what's been changed, right? And so whether, on the IRB thing was changed, and by the way, I'll show you that we actually have a special function, which is a compare revision function that's built in for actual output too, by the way. But you can just see very quickly and easily what the changes. And not only that, I can call back any other version I've ever done and compare it to the current version. And so this is part of the nice thing about having a truly, a true audit log. And I'll show you that in a second. So I can compare it, and I can actually bring up an older version and make it the most current version. Why would I do that? Well, it could be I was taking a whole new approach to the section. We had a meeting coming up, so I didn't want to use that, as for the meeting because it wasn't ready yet, wasn't ready for prime time. So I saved it, as a draft, and then I brought back up the earlier version and made that the most current version. But now the meeting's over and I want to get back to work on it, or whatever reason I want. You can see here in this section, here's the notes I wrote about it, so you can kind of see that. So this is one of our really nice features, which is the compare revision function. As I mentioned, we have our revision log, or I call it the audit log. Again, this is uneditable, so anything that you save as a draft or anything is going to be in here. So everything that was ever done is going to stay with the document. I can now compare that using the compare feature. I can send a message to people based on it, or I can save that as the most current draft. So it gives me a nice ability to to work with this, and again, to have a real audit log for compliance. And this is another place where needs review can be done, so I can see what people have asked me to do. So I've done all this great stuff on the protocol. Now it's time to output it in some way. And so basically all the output is handled from the gear wheel. And as I quickly mentioned, we can preview a protocol, which lets us see the protocol as a whole for the first time. And now we can actually see it and edit it, as a whole document, which is really useful because, it might be that while it looks good as a separate section, when we see the flow of the document, it may not tell the story the way we want to tell it. And now it's showing you here all the way that this protocol would be laid out as it's really done. And I can go ahead and edit from here. I can send those comments from here, so I can do whatever I need to do. As I mentioned, I can invite to review, which sends a note to people. I can choose people from my list, and it will send a note to them and tell them that I want them to look at this protocol. And then, of course, I can create, a PDF or Word document. So, one of the nice things I would do when I want to finish a protocol and I want to get it fully compliant, what I would do is I would check on the checklist function. All right, so now what I would do is I would make sure that all of these all these sections are with green circles and checks, so that I've actually completed all the subsections of the protocol. And then I would go through the checklist of the things again that are designed to make sure that they're really doing it correctly and just making sure everything's done. And when all these are checked and all these are green circles and checks out here, then we publish a version. So let me go back to the protocol file area now. So all really version 1s are draft, right? Because they're not been going through the process. Once I've gone through the whole process once, the first then becomes version 2. And a typical way things might work is I would work on the draft, I would finish it, I have version 2. Now I have version 2 right here. And then I would print, I would use the, I'm at that point where I have version 2 and I would load it up and I would print either the Word or PDF document. Now, one of the nice things, I think you guys require Word at your IRB submission system. That's correct. I believe that's correct. So what happens is now you're going to create a Word file that is, is complete because we just did the complete in this exercise, and you would just save it and you would just submit this the way you would use, anything else to your IRB submission system. So it, doesn't add more complexity in that way. And that way too, by the way, if some people are still using Word, templates, that's what they want to do. And then some people are using Protocol Builder, it doesn't interfere. You end up with the same kind of result, which is what you want. So we can create this file at any time, and then we have our thing done. And by the way, this is, one of the things I mentioned is you're going to get some very, nice looking, very consistent protocols. One of the things we hear time and time again is that our clients find that they get more consistency between now under a Protocol Builder and observational retrospective and interdimensional combo than what a lot of times you get just between 2 observational retrospectives, before use of Protocol Builder. So one of the things I wanted to show you, so it's printed out all the stuff, right? It's done our, it's done our attachments, and it's done our glossary. So one of the other areas that for version 2 and later, we have a feature you can turn on, which is basically the summary of changes. And what this does is it makes it easier because what you have is now like the IRB or something like, let's say we went through the example I gave where we turned the version 2 into the IRB. They came back with these 5 comments. I addressed those 5 comments. If I turned on the summary of changes feature, which I'll show you where you can turn on in a second, then I'm going to be able to see exactly what I changed in those sections so that if I'm the IRB, and I can even type in the rationale, right? And so I can actually, very easily, so I'm the IRB, I don't have to necessarily pick through the document. I can if I want. I can just see what the changes are and see if they're the ones we requested. And it just makes it easier for everybody. So that's the nice part of the output. And by the way, it comes over in through here. Like I say, version 2 or later, we'll have the summary of changes option in the table of contents, and that gives me the ability to see. And this will be recording all the changes I go on. Now I can turn this off if I choose to. Why would I do that? Well, if I'm going to be publishing this protocol, and this protocol is like the cure to cancer, maybe for that particular, for some versions of this protocol, I don't want those changes showing, right? It's not what I want showing. But then for other versions, I want. So this is a version this is a feature you can turn on and off, and it's kind of a nice feature. So now I can, see what the changes have been. So that is basically, the basics of Protocol Builder and how you can use it today. We were starting to talk about, a lot of times what people will do is they'll take our protocols, they'll take the core one that they launched out, and then what they'll do is they'll create kind of their own content in it, and maybe they'll put some guidance stuff in it, and then they'll save it, as their protocol to be used. So for example, one of the things that's been done is like McLaren Health, which uses this primarily with their resident operation. They've created an observational protocol template that has specific content and other things in it. And then what happens is they just actually use the cover page to push it to the resident, so it's in their box and there's no guessing involved. And then that person would just add their name as the principal investigator, which basically changes it. And then they would create the protocol using the base that was already created, and they would just go from there. So that's one of the things that people really, really like about Protocol Builder. So, beyond that, again, for some CTSI special focus, because that's what you guys are, we do offer some other abilities, and I could go deeply into them as you want, but, we do offer the ability to do different kinds of customization. Single sign-on is very easy to support, so that's nice for people. We can do field integration, so it could be to things like ERRV systems or I2D2 or whatever, and we can actually create special fields for you guys as customization if you guys want. So that's just the ability. So that's where people can take the basic features of Protocol Builder as you use it out of the box today, and then make it more specialized to fit your needs. So that's pretty much what I would think I would normally cover. You guys have been great and patient with me. I apologize for that little glitch we had there. What can I answer for you guys now to help you? What questions do you guys have?
Neal, I had one question, if you don't mind. When you sent the overview of your presentation for today, there was something related to clinicaltrials.gov that the Protocol Builder could also have an output, I think, and I don't know if you just describe that for us.
Well, so what we do is we have a link to clinicaltrials.gov. We're actually looking at creating some kind of as a future function, some sort of uplink to them. So we don't offer that today. What we do offer right now is a link to them, and we're using, like we just give you links to them. Okay. But that is actually something we're looking at, though. It's okay. On the table.
Thank you. Does anyone have any other questions?
Did you guys find this useful today? Was this kind of thing you needed to see?
Yes, thank you very much, Neal. And I also wanted to thank Gretchen McMasters, who provided your contact information so we could have this session today.
Oh, that's what we're here to do. It's all about trying to support the people so you guys can get the best and most use out of your subscription.
Neal, I've got a question for you. It's Gretchen. Just for the purposes of changes to
Could you speak up just a little bit? You're a little further away from the mic.
Right there. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Way better.
Okay, thanks. In terms of keeping all of the regulations up to date, I just want to make sure that, as we start going into the common rule changes and also changes associated with, GDPR and everything else that we're dealing with. So Protocol Builder does keep all of this updated, correct? So
that is correct. And it's kind of interesting, so again, we have a lot of internal, so in other words, I mentioned before, BRANY has our own IRB, and we have our own, we have our own specialists, because we're also consultants in this space. So not only do we make it a point to keep it up, but we actually have the knowledge and, are daily involved with the NIH and other offices, to be aware of these changes and what's happening before they happen.
Okay. great. Thank you. I think one of the things that we're looking at, and I'm telling you this as well as telling everybody in the room this at the same time, is that if CTSI and this group in particular looks at this and decides that it is something that they really like and they feel like it's something that would be advantageous for your use, what we'd like to do at the IRB level is look at trying to see if we could do some sort of a pilot, even looking at some sort of integration down the road, because we're trying to make things easier on the researchers at that, especially for those people that are working on the protocols and developing these. So any additional information or ideas that you have or anybody in the room has in terms of looking down that road, we'd love to hear about it, okay?
I have, if I may, I'll jump in with a comment. You know, it's funny, I work with a lot of accounts, and one of them is NYU and stuff, and we're, you know, this is a process, what we do with folks. So what we like to do is sit down with you, and this is what we're doing right now with Children's National, who's been a long-time user, but we're now getting deeper, is we're actually, you know, taking a real hard look, working with them, like, you know, at what they want. You know, in other words, they're taking a look and, you know, at their process, and they're taking a look at what they want to include. And then while we're using it in regular mode, we're actually planning for the customizations they may want. So we're happy to do that with you. We don't charge you for, you know what I mean? We don't, you know, the consultation stuff is just what we do. So we'll happily sit down and work with you. And that really, we found that made a big difference, because like a lot of these kind of tools, you know, you start using them and you have a certain vision of what you might and could do with it. But as you get more immersed in it, you tend to have other opinions, you know, you get more knowledgeable. So, and then we can walk you through what things we can do for you, and, you know, what the cost would be, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. So does that seem like it might be helpful?
I think it would be incredibly helpful, and especially if the group is interested in this, I would like to do that. And because we're focusing so much on process improvement right now, and will be in this year, the coming year, and the year after that, because this isn't going to be something that we can do overnight. Anything that we can do at this point that's going to improve that, we're definitely open to looking at it. So if you guys as a group would like to go down that path, we'd be happy to go down that path with you. And Neal, we can get together and have a conversation about that offline.
I'd love to do it. Yep.
Okay.
Anytime. We'll just set it up, and we can, like I say, we can do it. We tend to do it in stages, you know, and we're happy to take, you know, protocol template stuff you're using now and to help analyze it and all that kind of stuff. So.
Okay, that sounds good.
Are there any other questions or feedbacks or?
No, thank you so much.
Oh, I had one question.
Okay.
I'm sorry, or not really a question, but a request. The PowerPoint presentation that you presented was a little bit different than we had printed. Could you please send the PowerPoint to us that you're
Absolutely.
showing? Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Do you want it in PowerPoint, or do you want it as a PDF, or do you not care?
PDF is fine.
Okay. Excellent. We'll be done.
Thank you.
Have a great day and a great weekend, everybody. And again, feel free to reach out to us if there's any way we can help.
Thanks, you too. Thank you.